Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another exciting webinar with Secure Intelligence Limited. And my name is Chine. I'm an SDR at CIL. I want to officially welcome each and every one of you to today's webinar. And as always, it promises to be insightful, exciting, and really impactful. Trust me, you're going to go out of this webinar with a lot of information that would help you scale your business or move to a new level in your tech journey. All right, so I would like to confirm that you can hear me if you're on this webinar and you can hear me clearly. Give me a reaction using the reaction button below your screen. All right, so that I'll confirm that we're together. Okay. All right, so thank you so much. All right, so today, thank you. I can see the reactions. All right, today is going to be amazing. I'm excited. I hope you are. All right, so today's topic, we're going to be discussing migrating Microsoft workloads to the AWS cloud. All right, and before we go into the webinar proper, I would like to walk us through some housekeeping rules that we have here at CIL. First, I want you to understand that this section is being recorded and uploaded on our social media channel. You can check the replay of this webinar on YouTube at Secure Intelligence Limited. So if you missed any part of the webinar due to network issues, don't worry, we have you covered. All right. And if you would like to go again to listen to the webinar so that you can get more out of the webinar, please do not hesitate to check our YouTube channel at Secure Intelligence Limited. We have a replay there. All right, so all attendees can raise or react during, the presentation. If you want to appreciate the speaker, you want to make a reaction, you want to give a thumbs up. If you look below your screen, you will see an emoji button. If you click it, you'll see a couple of reactions that you can make during the course of the webinar. All right, so and lastly, if you have questions, please do not hesitate to use the Q&A session. Below your screen, there's an icon with a question mark. All right, so just click on it and then it takes you straight to the Q&A comment session. So if you have questions during the course of the webinar, do not wait to the end of the webinar. You can ask your questions during the webinar. So just type it there and all questions will be attended to. All right, so for those of you who are joining us for the first time, I want to officially welcome you to Secure Intelligence Limited. And we're CIL teams. We love to see ourselves as solution builders. That's who we are. All right, we apply technology to drive effectiveness, agility, and growth for your businesses. We are positioned to help enterprises scale globally. All right, that's our major goal. All right, and we work with 4 major pillars. There's a global mindset, multi-cloud competence, agility, and most importantly, growth. We are really passionate about your growth, all right, and the growth of your business. So without further ado, I want to take us straight into today's webinar. But to do that is Onidamola. Onidamola is going to be taking us through the agenda and the webinar proper. So she's going to be treating the topic, migrating Microsoft workload on AWS cloud. So thank you, Onidamola, for joining, and you are welcome. Over to you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Lenye. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope we are all excited to be here, as I am, even though this weather is summer. So today's agenda, we have the on-premises challenges that we might face on premises, the reason why we migrate to AWS cloud, the migration phases and the process, and some case studies to address the benefits of AWS cloud. So there's a question to be asked. When you want to move out of your house, what do you think those people around you would ask you? That is to the audience, please. So what do you think the question will be asked? What question do you think will be asked by people around you when you say you want to move out of an apartment to another apartment? Anyone can answer, please. Okay. In the absence of no answer, I'm going to answer that. Say you want to move out of your apartment, right? There'll be questions like, is there any problem? No. Or are you trying to move to just a better accommodation or something like that? So, and these are the reasons why we migrate to AWS cloud, because with on premises, they are like the traditional way of doing things, and they did not evolve with traditional systems did not evolve with the AWS cloud, right? So there is no modernization. So we have some challenges operating with on premises, and the challenges are end of life, end of support. End of life, end of support. Next slide, please. Thank you. End of life, end of support is, with the iPhones, right? We sometimes Apple announces like every year or every 2 years that they will no longer be supporting the older iPhones. So what does that mean? It means that the older iPhones from iPhone 8 to 6 and 4 will no longer be getting software updates, will no longer be getting application updates. And if we, to some of us that use iPhone here, you can notice that there's an application called the fitness app that counts your steps, right? And this application is not noticeable in the older iPhones because it did not come with, because they are no longer getting support from Apple. That means they're no longer getting updates from Apple. So we also have security updates too. So with servers, right, just like iPhones, when you get servers and you configure your servers and all of that, after like 4 to 5 years, vendors stop supporting these servers. What does that mean then? It means we would now have to get new servers, right? So because we are no longer getting application updates, we're no longer getting software updates, we're no longer getting security updates, which can also lead to another challenge, which is called the security vulnerability, right? Because we're no longer getting security updates now. We are going to be attractive to hackers, or can be easily compromised. All of our data and all of our workloads can be compromised, which is something that, of course, we will not like, right? So with on premises too, you have to maintain your servers physically, right? So you have to make sure that you hire workers are going to maintain your servers. You have to make sure that you are powering your servers, right? You have to make sure that 24/7, you have to make sure that there's AC too. And all of this maintenance cost, all of this maintenance money can easily be diverted to other business initiatives. So we can use it to either pay so many staff, or we can use it to pay so many staff. We can use it to pay, or we can use it for other business ideas too. Another major challenge with on-prem is scalability. So with scalability, if you have a website that, from the beginning, you probably predict you get capacity, and you think to yourself, okay, what number of customers do I think that I can have? 10,000. You decide that it's going to be 10,000, right? So you get servers for that capacity. Now, what happens when somebody like Beyonce or something uses your bag, and now everybody has seen it? Everybody's trying to go to this website and they want to get this bag, right? So that means you will now have more traffic to your website, and you don't have the means to cater for this traffic because the server that you got was due for the capacity that you needed at that time. So that means you are going to lose customers, and that brings us to one of the benefits of AWS cloud: scalability. So with scalability now, every year, in November, we have Black Friday sales, right? So during Black Friday sales, I mean, who does not want to get things at discounted price? Because if I see a place that sells iPhone 13 for 50K, of course I'm going to be there, right? So I would also, just like other people want to go on this website and try to see the things that I can buy at cheaper prices, right? But because this particular organization uses AWS, they can sit back and relax because they know that AWS is going to scale up their resources on demand and scale down when November is over. But compared to these two, the traditional way or the traditional system, which is the on-premises, right? So it would mean that, okay, we can probably guess, right, that by November, you are prone to have more customers clocking in because of the discounted prices during Black Friday sales, right? So you get a new server and you've installed, you've configured it. Now, what happens after Black Friday sales is over? You've now gone back to the number of customers that you usually have, which is like 10,000, right? So it means that the server is just there. You're not using it. You're wasting your resources. You're wasting your money. So this is one of the things that AWS has come to solve too. Cost saving is a model in AWS that is called the pay-as-you-go pricing model. So with this model, you only pay for the resources that you use. And that means that if I'm using compute resources or services, I'm paying for just that. If I only need storage services for AWS, or with AWS, I create an AWS account and I go into the AWS account, just make use of storage, right? Because that is all I need. And I'm only going to pay for that, right? So after doing that, and I feel like I'm no longer in need of the storage services, I can just stop it. I can just stop using them. And just like that, I'm no longer paying for anything. So with scaling up and down your resources, it enables us to just enhance performance and migrating to the AWS better. Obviously, there are other benefits to migrating to the AWS, but I'm just going to be focusing on these three today. So next slide, please. We've heard of this benefit of AWS, right? And who would not want to? Next slide, please. We've heard of the benefit of AWS. So who would not want to? We've heard of benefit of AWS. So who would not want to migrate to AWS or take advantage of these benefits, right? So we have some processes that we can migrate. You understand? So processes of migration. So we have 4 major processes. We have the assessment phase, the planning, migration, and optimization. So what is the assessment phase? And this is something that we do in our company, right? We help customers, we help them migrate from on-prem to AWS. And this is exactly what is specified in my domain, the specialized workloads domain. So assessment phase, planning phase, migration phase, and optimization phase. So with assessment phase, you just analyze your workloads, the number of applications that you have. This is just taking a note of your inventory, because we want to make sure that after we migrate to AWS, we want to make sure that we have the numbers of applications or our workloads are intact. So with planning phase, we know it is not possible to do anything without planning, no matter what you're going to plan, right? So the planning phase is basically you creating like the timeline, the services that you're going to be using, your priority, if it is cost savings or other benefits. So then we have the migration phase. This is the execution phase. So this is where like the main thing happens. So with migration phase, this is where you have to install an agent on your own premises server. You use a service that is called application migration service and database migration service to migrate your app and data respectively to AWS. We also have the optimization phase. Obviously, after migrating your workload to AWS, you have to test and make sure that all of your applications are doing well as they should, because if not, then there's no point in migrating, right? So after you've migrated your workloads, you want to optimize. What does that mean? I mean, after you've migrated, there are going to be other ways, other things that you can do to make your environment better, to make your workloads better. Like there's sometimes you can provision a large number of or a bigger size of compute to a workload that is not of an application that is not supposed to. Maybe after you've migrated, you now realize that it is too much. You can right size this your resource. You can even add and remove storage, right? And these are very, very easy things that to do. AWS also recommends some recommendations that you can put in place to just make your workloads better. So what are migration strategies? So okay, so in order to do these things, then there must be some kind of approach that we are taking. So migration strategies are approaches that organizations take to migrate to the AWS. So migration strategies, we have retain, retire, rehost, relocate. The retire is you are no longer, you feel like you no longer use, you are no longer in need of these applications. You can retire them. You can decide to retire them. But today we are just going to be focusing on two migration strategies, and they are rehosts and re-architects. So rehost is just like it is like lift and shift. So what does this mean? So imagine you have a house, right? And you can just feel like you no longer like your environment. You want to move out of that environment. So it will be the easiest thing for you to do rather than going to people and looking for houses, looking for agents that are going to look for houses for you, right? The easiest thing you can do is just bulldoze your house, right? And just carry it if it's weather easy and just place it on this land. So this is this is the rehost part of strategy. This is like lifting and shifting your workloads. So organizations mostly do this when they know that okay, I want to migrate my workload without downtime, and they feel like they don't want to waste time. But this strategy is not like making use of the advantages of AWS cloud, like re-architecting. So re-architecting is like when you design your applications, you're designing it to suit AWS. You're designing it specifically for because you know you want to migrate. So you are designing it in line with AWS. And you'll be able to make use of the benefits of AWS. Next, we have this is, like I said, just to buttress the points for today's presentation. So for today, we have some case studies, which is some success stories of people that have migrated to the AWS cloud. So we have OneFi. So OneFi is a digital financial services platform in Nigeria. So OneFi has been able to transform its operation by migrating to AWS. So they scaled from processing like 500 loans per week to 1,500 loans per day, which is a lot. They've been able to increase agility, they've been able to improve scalability, and they've even been able to use image detection for their fraud analysis solution too. And as we can see, they've been able to improve scalability, which is the biggest major reason why people migrate to the cloud. So we also have Time Bank. Time Bank is South Africa's first digital bank. So Time Bank has migrated 85% of their workload to AWS. So Time Bank has been able to acquire like 100,000 new customers per month, and they've been able to achieve 50% of reduction in infrastructure costs, and they've been able to increase scalability too. So basically, migrating from on-premises to AWS is not as it's very simple. Thankfully, we have procedures, right, on how to do this, and we personally do it in our company too. So if you can just follow the procedures and the processes, then you should not have problem. But you can also consult us in case you want to migrate to AWS. Thank you very much. If there are any questions, I'll take them.
Thank you so much, Ndamala, for that wonderful presentation. So please, if you have questions for Ndamala, please just use the Q&A session and the questions will be attended to. Okay, so drop your questions and let's get it attended. Okay, Ndamala, you have a question here for you. So it says, what are the key steps involved in migrating Microsoft on workloads from on-prem environment to AWS? Can you help us with that?
Thank you. The key steps of migrating from Microsoft from on-premises to AWS are access phase. We also have the planning phase. We have migration and optimization. So access phase is you have to make sure that you have a comprehensive list of your applications, because you want to make sure that when you migrate, you're migrating all of your workloads, right? Because there would be no point if you migrate and you lose some of these workloads, because with this you also check for dependencies and the likes, like the kind of applications that some applications are depending on. With planning phase. So planning phase is also very important. So you note down like the timeline that you want to spend on every phase. Like assessment phase, you want to spend 1 to 2 weeks. With planning phase, are you spending 2 to 2 weeks? The migration 2 weeks, and you just note down the timeline basically that you want to migrate. So the planning phase also, we have things like AWS pricing calculator. So when you want to migrate from on-prem to AWS has a service where you can check the pricing of not all, but most AWS service. So you can be able to even predict, or you can have a budget of what you'll be spending on your workload. With the migration phase, this is the execution phase. This is where you actually migrate. So here from the planning phase, you already have a list of AWS services that you are going to be making use of. So with the migration phase, you just be implementing them, and basically you just do the migration, and then the optimization phase, you are fine-tuning your workloads basically, right? Because sometimes we might create something and we just want to brush it off just to make it look cleaner or just to make it better. So that's basically the optimization phase. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. So there's another question here for you. I think that one was too good. All right. So how can organizations leverage AWS services to ensure high availability, scalability, and security, just as you said, when migrating to AWS cloud?
Okay, thank you very much, Naya. There are some services there are some AWS services that help with these things that we've mentioned. With security, we have IAM, which is Identity and Access Management. So with IAM, you can control who goes into your AWS account, and you can control what they do, right? Like down to the basic thing. You can control the things that they'll be able to, even with the service, you can control if they're going to be able to list the service, they're going to be able to use these services. So you can control so many things with IAM. Then there's an AWS service called Guards Duty. So with Guards Duty basically helps to detect threats. So Guards Duty makes note of malicious attacks or just suspicious activities, and they make note of it. They make note of the time, and you have all of the things basically there, like everything that you need to know about that particular malicious activity or activity. So we also have CloudTrail. So with CloudTrail, you can know all of like this step. Imagine I go into an AWS account and I do something, like I sign in. CloudTrail notes it down that I have signed into the AWS account. Imagine I go to S3 buckets and I try to create that is storage, right? And I try to create an S3 bucket. It notes it down. If I do anything with any service, CloudTrail notes it down. And scalability, there's something called auto scaling. So auto scaling scales up or down like our resources. So if we are using 10,000, maybe we have 10,000 customers now, we have customers. So it's going to cater to those customers. Then if it increases, then the resources scales up. Then if it decreases, then it scales down, just like that. Then high availability. So AWS has regions, right? So within these regions, there are availability zones. So it means we can spread our workloads to different availability zones. So that makes our workloads or applications highly available. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much, Julian. Thank you for those answers and for a wonderful presentation. So I'm sure we had a very great time today, all right, during the course of this webinar. So I would like to inform us that there's a booking link, a consultation link in the Q&A session, and it's absolutely free. So you get to, yes, yeah, let's do some reactions if you enjoyed the webinar also, so the booking link is there, and you can click on the link, book a session with our technical experts, all right, for your cloud migration. So, and we at Secure Intelligence Limited, we're here to support you, all right, in your cloud migration and whatever cloud platform operations that you need support with. We help with monitoring, all right. And if you also have inquiries concerning the webinar, please feel free. All right, do not hesitate to book a session. It's absolutely free, so you don't have to worry about anything. All right, so we'll be at the other end waiting for you and ready to help you through your journey to the cloud. All right, so thank you so much for joining today's webinar. Thank you. And like I said, the replay will be on our YouTube channel at Secure Intelligence Limited. All right, so thank you so much. You can also join us on our social media platforms. On Instagram, we're at CIL_teams. LinkedIn, we're at Secure Intelligence. Twitter, CIL_teams. And on Facebook, we're there at CIL Teams. All right, so when you check us out on our social media platforms, don't forget to subscribe, follow, and also turn on the notification icon so that you can get information about upcoming webinar and all other information that we have to give to you that would benefit you. So thank you once again for joining the webinar and staying through till this point. All right, so it was great having you today's webinar. Thank you, Damola, for the presentation, and I will see you next time.